Hi guys, I'm back in the garage this evening to finish off Nick's manifold. Nick's not here tonight, unfortunately, but you've just seen that we had a bit of a nightmare welding up all the cracks and getting the wastegate arm put back on. Now Nick has asked me to add a few gussets, which he's kindly cut out for me and profiled to fit, so all I've got to do is weld those back on. I'll be doing those in a sec, so I best crack on. Right then, we are ready to go. It's all been cleaned up. I've scored the marks where this fits up because Nick had put a paint pen on there. Obviously I've got to clean that off with acetone before I can weld it. I've cleaned up the gusset that he's cut me, so it's now time to go. Gonna fit this up where it needs to go, tack it in place, and then I will fully weld it up. Fucking nightmare this. Right, so that is all welded up. Sorry I didn't film too much. I kind of just got into it. The gussets are in, and I also did another bead over the welds that I did the other night, just to put a few more amps into them, put a bit more material on there and make sure that it doesn't come off for next race. So this is how it looks. Like I say, not my finest work, but it should hold and last the race. Fingers crossed. But that's all from me this evening. My name, if you've forgotten it already, is Andy. You'll find my YouTube channel by searching my name, Andy Ponting, and I'm on Instagram, rwd_saudi, S-A-U-D-I. And you'll be able to find a bit more about this build here, which is my B5 S4. But yeah, go follow that if you want to have a look at that. But anyway, Nick, back to you.
One manifold repaired, thanks to Andy. That's rear wheel drive Saudi, Andy Ponting. If you haven't already checked out his channel, I strongly advise you do so. So we have welded up all the many cracks we had through the collector. We've welded the gate back on, and we've also braced it on the top. And if I flip it, also braced it inside as well. So fingers crossed that will last a race. I'm not expecting it to last any longer than that, to be honest. But if it does a one race and a couple of runs through winter to keep me entertained, I'll be happy. If all goes to plan, by the time you are watching this, we will be parked up at Donington, ready to race tomorrow. If it hasn't gone to plan, then who knows when you'll be seeing this. But so, enough chat from me. Gonna get everything back together and see if we can get it running today. About half an hour later, the heat shield and everything is now back in. It's actually really tricky to get this back in place. So that fixes by the fire hose coming through. There's a bracket on here, and there's a tab, I don't know if you can see, there's a tab down there, and then we've got, obviously, that comes through, the coolant, and the EGT runs around the back and into it. So that's all in. I've also moved the gear cables. Previously, both gear cables came through this hole, but the left-right one came straighter and was really close to the gate, so I've actually moved that one to come through the old aircon drain hole. I do need to wrap that with some heat shielding, and I need to get a grommet on this hole to seal the bulkhead again. but hopefully that'll keep that further away from the wastegate. We won't have the problem we've just had where the pipe melted. Right, next up, manifold in. One repaired manifold. That is bigger than that hole. How is this going to go? I do not know. I'm popping that out, make a bit more room. That was 10 times easier than I was expecting. That has gone in that hole considerably easier than expected. Happy with that. So, 13 brand new copper nuts to go on. I'll see you in a minute. Well, that's a thankless task of bolting the manifold up done. So, it is down here, honest, hiding in here. So you can actually get to most of the nuts, but you've got one down here and one down here that you need to do with a little tiny ratchet spanner. But that's one manifold back in. Time to plonk a turbo on here, and then we're not a million miles away. One wastegate needs to sit there, so I'm going to throw the bottom half of the clamp in first. Easier said than done, like everything on this entire car really. Right, let's pop a turbo on there. I usually use a standard bag oil drain, however the holes in the turbo are M8, these holes are M6, they don't go through. What I've done today is just take a 10mm really sharp drill bit and just manually by hand just give them a bit of a clearance, because I've tried drilling these before and they always snag and rip and destroy the gasket. And now M8 bolt will wind through it really nice. Okay, no more excuses. 1 225 550 going in. Shut up, telephones. Look at that. Nice little turbo. Goes in very easily. First up is the oil drain. That's the oil drain on. Just going to nip them up nice and tight. Nice and tight. Right, that's the oil drain on. So we'll lift the turbo up into its right orientation, get the oil and water lines on. Sorry, get the water line on. And we'll be dropping it on the V-band. Crush washer, banjo, another crush washer. There she goes. Okay, so turbo is in, first part of the downpipe is on, car is now up on stands, so we're going to go in, get everything aligned before doing any of the V-bands up tight. From memory, I seem to recall this is very, very difficult to get in. Well, turns out that was easy. That's roughly it. Say roughly. Very roughly. Yeah, time passed. It's getting dark. But the turbo is in. The exhaust, can we see this? The exhaust is now on. Pretty frustrating job just getting it all to line up. It took me forever to get the wastegate to line up, and I don't want it to be stressed. I've got too many joints within the downpipe section which means any misalignment and the wastegate doesn't line up. Gonna call it a day for today. Gonna come back to it in the morning, hopefully turn the key. So, it's Sunday, it is considerably less bright and it is considerably less warm, but we're nearly there. So I've got a couple of charge pipes to whack on, won't chuck the inlet on for a first start up, exhaust is all connected, fill it with coolant, turn the key, make sure it all works. See you in a mo. Right, turn it over, make sure it turns, plug the injectors in, see if it fires. That'll be plenty for oil pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4. See if it starts. So, it's running, just. It's running. All seems to be together. Right, well I hope you guys can hear me. Been running about 10-15 minutes now. All seems pretty good. So, we get back down off the stands and we're going to go for a little test drive. If that's all good, split it back on and it's ready to race.